As the oxygen crisis in the national capital increases, the news now coming in is that the centre has agreed to increase Delhi's oxygen quota substantially. This on a day in which several hospitals have been pleading for help, and there are no two ways about it. They have been pleading for help to anyone and everyone that they can, saying they have just a couple of hours of oxygen left, including some of the biggest chains, smaller hospitals, everybody. They've been pleading to the state, to the centre, they've been pleading to the media. The message is simple: give us oxygen supplies or people start dying. It's as desperate a situation as that, something that we are not exaggerating in any form. Srinivasan Jain joins us for more on this. Srinivasan, firstly, the first indicator that some good news may be around the corner: has the centre agreed to enhance supplies to Delhi?
That's right, Vishnu. Even as Delhi's hospitals have reached the absolute brink of running short of oxygen supplies, comes this information from a source that the centre has increased the oxygen quota to Delhi from the current 378 MT, which I believe is metric tons, to 500 metric tons. This has been conveyed to the Delhi government by a high-ranking minister at the centre. Now, the only concerns being flagged by the Delhi government are that the additional oxygen is apparently meant to be coming from Odisha, from some industrial units there. So there's some question mark over how long it will reach. The other concern, of course, is that even the current quota of 378 MT is still not being fully met. So will they be actually able to meet the 500 MT quota? Also, as we've been reporting, Delhi government says that they actually need 600 MT. That is their daily quota. Regardless of all that, the fact that the centre has increased or has agreed to increase the quota is something that the Delhi government is welcoming, and is hopefully good news for the citizens of Delhi who are facing this acute crisis on literally an hour-by-hour basis.
All right, Vasu, thanks very much for joining us. The Aam Aadmi Party MLA and spokesperson of the party, Raghav Chadha, joins us as well. Raghav, it's great news that you might actually be able to get some more oxygen. But in the interim period, how desperate is it?
Well, Vishnu, yes, the situation is very desperate. I can name hospital after hospital and give you how many hours of oxygen is left in that particular hospital. Most recent example is of Max Shalimar Bagh and Max Padpadganj, where only 2 hours and 3 hours respectively is the oxygen availability. And once, the 2 to 3 hour period expires, that hospital will run out of oxygen and it can lead to a complete catastrophe. And there are several other hospitals, St. Stephen's Hospital and Gangaram Hospital, etc., that are all of them are on the brink of running out of oxygen. And quite frankly, if I were to just summarize the whole oxygen problem for you in 5 quick points, just permit me to do that. Point number 1, the total number of patients requiring high flow oxygen as a proportion of the total patients admitted in hospitals has gone up in the year 2021 in the second wave in comparison to the year 2020. That's one. Number 2, the central government has centralized the entire allocation process of oxygen in complete disregard of previous purchase agreements signed between the hospital and the vendor. And they have centralized it. They have set up a committee and they said that we will now allocate oxygen. Be that as it may. The stepmotherly treatment given to Delhi in that allocation process is as follows. The government of Delhi asked for 700 metric tons of oxygen. We even filed an affidavit in the High Court saying that the official figure quoted by the government of Delhi and required by the government of Delhi is 700 metric tons. The government of India's own calculation shows that the Delhi government requires 500 metric tons of oxygen. However, what was allocated to us by the high-powered committee set up by the union government was a meager 378 metric ton. That is, we wanted 700. The central government thought that as per their own calculation, we require 500, but we were only given 378 metric ton. Not given, I beg your pardon, allocated. Out of this 378 metric ton, the entire oxygen supply has not yet reached. We are close to 250 to 300, 78 metric ton roughly I'm just giving you a ballpark, has not yet reached. Because, for example, in Haryana, the Haryana government has stationed its officers and the local police at the production points where this oxygen plants are situated. They have physically captured those plants and are not letting trucks move from that premises and enter into Delhi to cater to the demands of Delhi. So therefore, from 700, we are down to less than 300. And this is an SOS. This is an emergency. And I am hopeful that the union government will understand the plight of Delhiites and of the hospitals in Delhi, because if tomorrow, if union ministers and members of parliament, God forbid, require oxygen in order to survive, even they will have to come to Delhi government-run hospitals.
So, Raghav, 1 second. I just want to run through the hospitals. Gangaram, the last we heard, 5 hours of oxygen left. Manipal Hospital, 230 patients, 12 hours left. Indraprastha Apollo, oxygen levels are low. Apollo says their oxygen is for 10 to 12 hours. They have 350 COVID patients who need oxygen. Gangaram says 10 patients are in an ICU, 35 are awaiting admission. Sharda Hospital in Noida, this affects the NCR, has 3 hours of oxygen left. Tankers are being blocked by Haryana. The centre says the issue of tankers has been resolved. Has it been resolved?
Well, first of all, this resolution, to the best of my understanding, will come into effect after 48 to 72 hours. For the next 48 to 72 hours, the situation is going to persist. And I can assure you, I can tell you that bureaucrats of the government of India, bureaucrats of the Delhi government, ministers of the Delhi government are personally monitoring the movement of each and every truck. We are calling up vendors and oxygen suppliers like Linde, like Inox personally, and monitoring the movement of trucks as to how soon will the truck leave the premises, where has it reached, has it crossed the border, in how much time will it reach the facility. We are literally hand to mouth in this situation, and we are monitoring every movement of every single truck. Now, this, of course, explains the severity of the problem. Of course, the government of India should ensure green corridor for this Cairo, which is the truck that carries liquid oxygen from place A to place B. And the green corridor should not necessarily be only for Delhi. If liquid oxygen needs to reach any part of the country, green corridor has to be given to it.
Raghav, so one more quick question. You know, the BJP leader Gautam Gambhir has tweeted and said that he is distributing Famiflu, right? Is that something that's legal?
Well, again, Vishnu, to the best of my understanding and the understanding of legal provisions, for him to hoard without having a license, a medical license, a pharmacy license to sell these drugs, for him to hoard these medicines at his office and distribute to earn petty political points is not only immoral but grossly illegal. And I'm pretty sure the authorities are looking at it pretty seriously and should initiate action against him, irrespective of the office that he holds.
All right, Raghav, we'll leave it there. Hopefully that oxygen situation in Delhi will get better as soon as possible. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I, Vishnu, would like to thank you and your channel for relentlessly pursuing the cause of Delhiites and these hospitals. I can tell you that it is because of reportage like this that there was certain dangers that were averted that could have happened in several hospitals. So I thank you and your channel.
Thank you very much, Raghav. We will continue to follow this closely.